Welcome, everybody, to Podcast at Live. This is your host, D Rock, and my guest today is Hydro 1700. What you're going to find in this podcast is going to be a mixture of current topics, general host topics. We will be discussing our opinions about each topic. And if at any time you'd like to comment, I will read off the random comments, and only appropriate comments will be allowed. So, what's going on today, Hydro?
Not much, just chilling, vibing. Glad to be
Good, man.
on with you.
You want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, Hydro. People that know me know the real government. Don't need to give it out. Um, Me Village, all day, every day, 1700 block for life. That's where we grew up at. That's where we kicked it at. That's where we born and raised at. And that's always going to be in the heart.
That's what's up, man. I just want to tell everybody out there. I definitely wanted to invite this guest because he's my best friend, and we share a lot of really good opinions about most topics right there. So today, it's we're gonna get into a very highly debated topic right here across the world, across the globe, and that is gonna be the top five rappers of all time, and particularly in the United States, we're going to go from east, west, north, and south, and we're going to try to mix things up with that. So before we kick things off, man, there's just so many there's just so much different kinds of music out there that with the different kind of generations that we grew up listening to, there was a good mixture. But I just felt like nowadays it's a real big blender of just any kind of um, any kind of artist can come out with any way and can still gather a following and still make it famous. And is there any
And,
yeah, is there any other
and still be trash, too, and make it.
that accounts for probably about 90% of music right now.
A
If
lot
I'm
of
to be
trash
honest,
music out right now. A
yeah.
lot.
But shout outs to the younger generation, and that's their thing. I'm from an older cloth, so I can respect the rap music because I've seen it from its infantile stage. Well, not all the way back in the '70s and stuff like that, but I seen it from when it grew up in the '80s to where it was really, really in your face in the '90s, and then now it's more of a cultural thing. It's just normal in society.
Yeah. Because
So,
it's a vibe now.
right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, do you want to kick your list off first, or how do you want to start this
Yeah, I can
conversation?
kick my list off first.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, nobody else's opinion, it's just mine. My top five all time. Of course, any and everybody that knows me knows DMX is number one. Without a doubt, no questions asked. DMX is number one.
Right, absolutely.
Number two would be, and this is a tough one. Number two for me would be Nas. Number
Okay,
two for me would be Nas. Number three for me, and I know a lot of people that's watching is going to get mad, but I don't really give a shit. I'm just telling you how I feel. Number three for me is going to be a Wu Tang. Yes, the entire group
yeah,
is going to
yeah,
be the
okay,
Wu Tang.
yeah,
It's going to That's
and
number
and
three.
and no one should hate on you for that. That's a
Yeah, but I know
really
people are
good
going to
choice.
get mad because I can't decipher every single member of the group because then that wouldn't be fair because I wouldn't have a top five or a top ten because it'd be nine members plus one.
Right.
So number three for me is Wu Tang.
Hmm.
Number four for me, I know this is going to be unpleasant opinion as well, but number four for me is going to be Ti.
Okay,
Number five for me,
you're gonna get mad love down here in Atlanta for that one.
number five for me is going to be, this is a tough one. I would have to say number five for me would be Biggie.
Biggie.
That'll be my fifth, the
Okay.
notorious one. That'd be my
Okay.
fifth.
Um, mine goes like I put um I put Wu Tang first.
I'll
Okay,
give you no
that
argument
that
there.
that's 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 just based on my opinion. That's where my background in culture and music and how it changed the way I listen to rap. They played definitely a big influence on that. So I definitely chose them. I also went with Nas on that second because I don't care what anybody says. The ether will probably never be replaced. There'll never be a song like it. There will never be you had to been there in that time to understand that song, and that song can be played anywhere at any time and it will still bang just as hard as it did on the first day you heard it. But
Definitely.
um I also chose I did I did go with Jay-Z though on
Okay.
the list only because of
I can't argue that.
his seniority and he did he did a lot. And the my last one is kind of a toss up because it's like
No, it'd be two
Biggie,
more.
two more,
You got
then
Wu, Nas, J.
I'm gonna go with then Pac and then Big. And
Okay.
the only reason why I
Okay.
chose Pac over Big is because Pac had way more catalogs, way more
Okay.
albums. That not in terms of lyricism, in terms of storytelling, and in terms of they were both equals to me, in my opinion.
Right. Right. Okay. So let let me tell you and a lot of people why I didn't put Pac in my top five.
That is a very. I wanted to know that. I definitely want
Okay.
to know that question right now.
Because one is just to me, I feel like it's just the ideal thing for everybody to do
Oh,
because of what
it's
he
the
stood
stand up thing
for.
to do. It's just you
It's
have to
just
say it because you have to
because
say it.
what he stood for, what he brought to the culture, and what he represented for the people. I feel like everybody just puts him in there, whether they truly like his music or not. You know what I mean? They just throw him in the top five because of who he was and what he stood for, and how he
Right.
changed the culture and stood up to society and politics and government and all the political issues that he touched on and got into. I feel like people always just throw him in there just for that reason,
Yeah. Some
which is
people. Go ahead. Sorry.
which is not a bad thing. But for me, I base mine on whose music I prefer to listen to more.
Right.
I like pop.
Right.
There's some pop songs. There's some of my favorite songs of all time. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, I don't listen to his albums like that, like on a daily. I don't listen
Right.
to his music or his albums like
Right.
that. There's
Right.
pop songs to me, excuse me, that will stand the test of time forever. Certain
Mm-hmm.
songs that doesn't matter 40 years from now, you can play it and it's still going to stand the test of time. It's still going to be a classic.
Right.
And I totally respect and acknowledge that. But for me, I don't listen to that much Pac like that. And the reason why I don't put him over Big is because Pac was out for he was out for a while in the world. He was mainstream not very long, but he put out a tremendous catalog of music, just an
If
overall great body of work.
if I'm not mistaken, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think he was
Hmm.
part of the digital underground
He
before
was,
he
he
came
was,
out.
he
It
was been
really he
around
would.
for a long time,
Yeah.
but
People don't
his
know that.
mainstream success was short lived because of the jail, the issues he had when he was in jail for a while, then getting out, then coming out, then dropping the album, and then signing with Death Row, and then getting killed. So his mainstream appeal wasn't that very long.
Right.
The reason why I say not over big is because Pac had over 12, 14, 15, 16, however many albums. Okay, and he's considered
Mhm.
one of the greatest.
Right.
Biggie only had two complete albums that were released. Two albums,
One,
just two. Ready to
two
Die,
albums,
Life After Death.
3 discs.
Right, but he's
Mhm.
still considered the greatest. That
Mhm.
tells you about the body of work.
That I
Two
never
albums,
I
two
didn't
albums,
consider that in
and he's
my.
still considered one of the greatest. That means those albums had to be just spectacular from start to finish. If he only had two albums, he's still considered one of the greatest ever.
And they
Those
were.
two albums made such an impact that it doesn't matter if Pac had this many albums, this many songs, or did this much work. It's quality over quantity.
Mhm.
That's the way I see it.
Right.
That's the way I see it. So
And the way
that's
that
why now if we stretched it and went top 10, Pac would be in my top 10. But in my top five, I don't put him there.
Mhm.
And the reason why I put T.I., and because I know a lot of people are going to get pissed because
You're
I
gonna
put
get that.
T.I.
You're definitely gonna get
I
that
know I'm going to
backlash
get a
on
lot of
that
flack
for
and
sure.
backlash.
For
But the
sure.
reason
But
why
that's
I
all
put
good though.
T.I.
Mhm.
is because I feel like T.I. to me is the most complete rapper ever, in my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like his music is so powerful and influential to people because T.I. is one of those people that, one, he has the street cred to back what he's saying. He has the belief in him where you can hear somebody on the radio talking a whole bunch of gangster shit, but they really ain't about that shit. And you can look right through them and see that they ain't about none of that.
Mhm.
He has the belief in what he's talking about, what he's been through, and publicly his court cases and shit that he's been through is public knowledge that he was living this kind of life.
Right.
And I feel like he's so versatile in the sense that he can do songs with Justin Timberlake, he can do songs with Rihanna, he can do trap music, he can do party music, he can do let's get smoked up, ride out music. So
Hold on.
that's why I say T.I. over a
Did
lot of people.
didn't Ti do a song with like Robin Thicke too?
Yeah, he did.
Right. Like this dude
He's
has been
super
around the world.
versatile. He's super versatile,
Mhm.
super talented.
Yeah.
And I just don't think he gets enough credit because one, he's from the South, and real hip hop heads like to just to discredit South rappers as not real lyricists or real MCs. They just real hip hop heads only like to look at New York MCs as real MCs.
Yeah, and I'm not I didn't mean to cut you off, but there's something that someone from Atlanta told me when I first moved down here. I was listening to the music,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna be honest with you. It was coming from the Northeast, when you're like 4 hours away from New York, and you're
Hmm.
like 45 minutes to an hour away from DC, and like Northern Virginia is there, Philly. So you get a lot of mixture, and not to mention the city itself. Baltimore had its own music in its own, so you had a lot of stuff to listen to that was multicultural in a sense,
Right,
lyricism, if that makes sense to you. Like a lot of you have to listen to the stuff to really get it. You know what I'm saying? And
right,
so when I spoke to that person about uh why I thought the music, because I'm gonna tell you, I thought the music was trash. I'm not gonna lie. Hold on, I
right,
don't like. I gotta say this. I don't really mean that all the music is trash to them, to all the
right,
people
right,
there, but I'm just saying my culture changed from when I moved from there to there is is what I'm kind of getting to, because
right,
what that person said to me is that a lot of people from like New York and stuff like that, they don't put a lot of emphasis on the beat. And that's when I said to them, I was like, because the emphasis is on the lyrics. It's what you're supposed to be
right.
listening to the entire time. But that person also said, Well, if they would just start bumping up their beats, that would be the draw for the people down south. So I guess they're more like a bass drum kind of people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And so they like that, and they like to dance. You know what I'm saying? And they like they're very multicultural down here in Atlanta with music. They're very
I get it.
there's all kinds of there's so many talents down here, and so many artists
Excuse
that
me.
are just doing all kinds of stuff. And but I've come accustomed to listening to that music. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And just blending, and it's cool to come to see to be so deep within two different kind of cultures of music. Coming from the
Hmm.
north and then coming from the south, and then so of course you can imagine if you were to go out west. When you were in uh, Las Vegas,
Yeah,
they got their own.
they got their own
They got
thing.
their own cliques out there. They got their
They got
own
their own
music out
thing.
there.
Yeah,
They do their own thing. So
so
there's,
different out there.
yeah, but I'm not. There's nothing to say that they ain't hard. You know what I'm saying? Or they ain't got none.
Right, right, right.
But I mean, I don't even know. To be honest with you, this I no hate. I don't even know a Las Vegas rapper. Period. In the
Me
history of
neither.
me even listening to
me,
music, I
me
don't
neither.
even know who
None. I
and
can't think
none.
of any.
I would have to Google that. It's like something
Right,
seriously.
right.
But yeah, that's all I want to share about that topic, and
All right.
how crazy the culture shocks are, like when you're so far up north and you're so far down south, because there's just so much to take in.
Right. So I was thinking, let's dive into this a little more with this top five thing. And
Okay, yeah,
dissect
oh,
it a little
absolutely. Yeah, we're not on the crust. We're gonna get to the sandwich here.
bit. Okay. So, and me saying my top five and picking who I did, that doesn't mean that I think these the top five that I named are the best rappers ever. It's not what
Hmm.
I'm saying. What
Yeah,
I'm
right.
saying is this top five is my preference in music of what I like to listen to.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you're just going pure MCing, pure lyrics, I don't think T.I. is better than Jadakiss. I don't think he is.
Right.
But
That. Yeah.
I think T.I. makes better music, better complete albums of 16 to 19 tracks of better complete songs that can be marketable, sold around the world, heard around the world. Anybody can vibe to it because I feel like there can be, you can be at work, whatever kind of job you work, you could work at Walmart. And if you're at a Walmart Christmas party with your company and coworkers, and there's a lot of like, middle-aged white people that's there, they would vibe better with T.I. music than they would with Jadakiss music,
Right.
is
I
what I'm
believe that.
saying.
Yeah, I totally believe that.
So I'm not saying that the five that I named are the best rappers ever. I'm just saying, in my opinion, they make better music than other people, in my opinion. As far as
Well,
like album goes, um, beats, you know, how they put it together, verses, the hook, they just make better music, in my opinion.
well,
I'm
let
not
me ask you
saying that
this:
they're better than everyone.
Why? And this is just a question for just you,
Hmm.
but why did no one from the Locks or Jadakiss himself make it into your top five?
Because I feel like when I want to listen to like just straight bars, rap, just MCing, I'm gonna go to what I know. I'm gonna throw on some Jadakiss. I'm gonna throw on some Styles P.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna throw on some Rakim. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's
Right.
lyricism. That's
Right.
lyrics. That's MCing. That's Big L. Like people that really get
Yeah.
busy on the mic. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm gonna go to. That's what I'm gonna listen to. But for me, music is a vibe. It's a feeling. It's something that can move you. You can relate to. You can feel. You can dive into. It hits your soul, your mind, body, heart, whatever. However you take it
It
in.
can definitely change your mood. No
Right.
doubt.
So The people that I name is the people that I think I can relate to and feel the most in the way they make their music, tell their stories, and put their songs together.
Hmm.
That's the people that I can relate to the most, I can feel the most, and I can vibe with the most.
Right.
So that's why I picked who I picked, and I picked them in that order because that's the order of how I listen to them. I listen to more DMX than anybody.
Hmm.
Then next, I would listen to Nas. I listen to Wu Tang. I listen to T. I listen to Biggie. That's who I listen to the most in that order.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
that's why I would go with that lineup that I had. But I'm not saying that they're better than anybody because anybody can make the argument that Snoop should be in the top five, and I wouldn't be mad.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
wouldn't be mad because
You're right.
to me,
Absolutely.
Snoop is that good, and sometimes he's forgotten about because he's just so commercial now and so worldwide, and he's just everything now. He's cooking shows, talk show host, radio host, UFC commentator. He's everything now. So people forget that he came from rap and that he's a MC, rap artist. People
Hmm.
forget that. So it's so many people. Like people forget how
And
nice Ice Cube is.
I
You
was
know.
just gonna say, for the record, Snoop Dogg also will drop like 16 kills in Call of Duty Warzone.
Yeah.
He's a gamer too. He's pretty sick.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Um,
He does everything. He's got cereal now. He's got pancakes. He's
yeah.
got orange. He does everything. So
Now,
people
but let me ask you this
forget
question real
how
quick.
good he is in rap.
I'm gonna try to bust your head open real quick
All right.
and try to shake up and see if who do you think is a better rapper in this just out of these two,
Okay.
Snoop and Ice Cube,
That's a tough one.
because they both had they both had career.
I don't.
Look, hold on, they both had career
Ah.
success. They both
Yeah.
had career success as actors. They've
Yeah.
also had career success as businessmen, and they've also
Uh.
had a lot of
It's
success
just
in growing the West Coast as to what they are now.
and just. Uh, uh, I would say Snoop. I would
You would
say
say
Snoop.
Snoop,
I would
and
say Snoop
why would you choose Snoop?
because Doggy Style is undeniable. That album is just undeniable.
Hmm.
It's not to say Cube didn't have classic albums because he did. He definitely did. But Doggy Style is just undeniable.
Right.
When Doggy Style hit, it changed rap music as a whole. Like it was the top selling album ever in a rap genre until Eminem surpassed it.
Hmm.
It was that. It was that. It was
Well, I want to also touch on that because to me, what it was is first of all, there was before it was like Snoop and Pac and that whole West movement. No one really cared about where you were from. You know what I'm saying? No one cared. You could be from Arizona, you could be John B and shit or whatever, and no one cared who you were just as long as your music was good. So when Snoop dropped the Doggy Style album and he was doing his LBCs and throwing up his dubs and his chanting his West Coast stuff, that opened my eyes as a young teenager. Like, hey, yo, they make fire
yeah,
music like that over there too. What else do they
yeah.
got over there too? And that's when you
Right,
start
right,
figuring
right.
out other artists, and then you start
That
going digging
that's
a little
why I
deeper.
say at that time when Doggy Style came out, it changed rap music as a whole.
Hmm.
Like it changed the culture, it changed the world. It was just Snoop was bigger than anything. He was
Yeah.
bigger than anyone or anybody on the
And he
planet.
still is.
He
He is
still is.
still
He's
he's
still
still
relevant. Still
now.
relevant.
Now
And he still get on the track and bust your ass.
I did see him get kicked out of Long Beach though by the street thugs though. So but that don't matter. He's a multi-billionaire, so that don't matter.
Right.
But anyway, that's just I don't whatever. That doesn't say anything about who he is as a
But
person
out of
or anything
Cube
like
and
that.
Snoop, I would have to say Snoop. Just
Okay.
by that much.
So just by a small
Because
margin.
just
because
by a
it's
small
like
margin.
because
Because
they're
Cube
they're
get
almost
busy.
they're almost like we talked about, they're almost equals in terms of success. So
Yeah,
they're both pretty much there.
because Cube definitely get busy.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely get busy. People
No,
forget
okay.
Cube and
Okay.
NWA wrote a lot of Eazy-E and Dr. Dre shit
Mm-hmm.
and his own shit, which is super talented to write three verses on a song for two different people and yourself, and all of them have their own feel and their own vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's talented, super talented.
Right.
Cube is that. Cube is that. So I say Snoop just because Doggy Style to me was like one of my favorite albums of all time. So that's why I say Snoop, just for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But not to discredit Cube as an MC because Cube nasty on the mic.
Right. He definitely is.
Cube
He-
nasty on the mic. And he
Um.
got one of the hardest diss songs ever.
Oh God, yes. That is also on my gym playlist. For
Yeah,
real.
hardest one of the hardest diss songs ever.
That is hands down. If no one, if you guys haven't heard that, which I'm pretty sure the entire world is, it
Yeah.
that's it's not, it's a hard song just listening to it, but knowing what he's talking
And
about
about
is
makes it
worse.
that
It
much.
makes it
Yeah,
worse because he didn't even try to see. Most rappers these days, they try to sugarcoat it, and they try
the
to
subliminal sneak
it's
dissing.
subliminals. Ice
Yeah,
Cube basically said it as raw as you could say it with no
yeah,
filter, like,
right, right.
which
So
I'm pretty.
that's why I say that. That's why I say that. But yeah, Cube is one of my all-time faves too. So Cube would be in my top 10.
Yeah.
Cube would definitely be in my top 10. I'm a big Cube fan. He would be in my top 10. If I kept
Um,
going and stretch that list, he would be in my top 10.
there was a lot of there was a lot of OG smooth rappers that came out of the West Coast. That was like I don't know if you consider Nate Dogg a rapper. He was more of a smooth R and
Just an artist. Just a
see
brilliant artist.
who was see Nate Dogg reminds me of n- don't take this the wrong way, okay? Because I could tell
Yeah.
that you could take this the wrong way, okay?
Right, right.
But it's just a comparison, okay? It's just a
Who you gonna
comparison.
say? I think I know who
You,
you're gonna say.
no, you have, but you. I'll bet you have no idea, and you're like
Who
you're gonna make a
you gonna say?
face.
Future?
No, no, no. But this,
Oh,
it is in Atlanta though. So I
who?
was gonna say Nate Dogg is kind of like Ti. I mean, I'm sorry, not Ti. T Pain. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Now hold on, hold
I
on.
can see.
Okay,
I can see
now
where you're
hold
going
on.
with that.
No, only this is what I'm going to
I
compare
see where
because
you're
it's
going with
not
that.
going to be in terms of catalog, what kind of music, because
Right, right.
they were in two different eras and two different totally styles. I'm only saying that I'm going to compare them because they were dudes who could sing like hell, had a voice that can, well, I don't know about TI's too much, but they had a voice that was just unbelievable, right? Like Nate Dogg's. But they were really low key just gangsters who just had the voice because T Pain down here in Atlanta, he be doing some gangster shit, but this niggas be singing on the hook though. So I don't know. Maybe I got that comparison kind of out of
No,
whack.
but I can see where you're going with that. I can see where you're going with it because when T Pain was hot, he was hot, and he was on everybody's song, on everybody's hook. He
Right.
was collabing with every
You're
rapper.
right.
So
And
I
that's
can see
exactly,
why you're saying that.
yeah.
I can see why you're saying that.
But
I can definitely see why you're saying that.
it's just the whole auto tune thing. It kind of it gets a
Yeah.
little sketch when you try to throw that out there because they go, oh shit, did he really sing? Because he really just had like a computerized
Right.
voice the entire
Right.
time. So
Right. Right. So I could definitely see why you're saying that.
um,
So that being said, if that's my top five to me, in my personal opinion, my personal favorite, who I think makes the best music. But if you're going just straight MCing, straight lyrics,
mhm.
I can give you my top five for that.
On and this is also okay. Okay, I'll tell you what.
Just
You go ahead and drop your top five, and
Okay.
we'll just go ahead and dissect that. And I'll ask you, I'll just ask
Okay.
you,
So
maybe I can put some input onto that.
my top five MCs, and people gonna get mad at me about this one too, but I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna just tell you how I feel. Number one, Big L.
Mm-hmm.
Big L, without a doubt, no questions asked. Big L. Then I would say this is gonna piss people off. I would say Jada.
No, Jada.
Jada.
Okay. Okay.
Then I would say Styles P.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would say
Then I
that
would
too.
say Fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
And then five would be Montana 300.
Montana 300.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy with the bars.
Yeah.
I almost want to put Montana at number two. I almost wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
and put Jada at three, and then Fab at five, Styles at four. I almost wanted to, but I just feel like he hasn't been out long enough. He hasn't been heard enough by enough people.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost wanted to put him at number two because his bars are second to none. His
Right.
bars are just out of this world, out of
And
this world.
and I'm assuming that you're basing this information on, because I'm figuring the same thing too, because they're multi talented within those bars, so they can do stories, they can do
Yeah,
gangster bars, they can do hooks, they can do songs for the
yeah,
shorties, you know what I'm saying,
yeah.
they can just do anything, you know what I'm saying, and it comes out. I have never heard a Jadakiss song that was trash. I don't think I ain't
Never,
never heard a
never,
joint that he was whack on. Something that made me,
never.
I've never heard a song that was just like, hey yo, Jada, he ain't even go that fire on that song. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Right. But I've heard Jada songs where I can listen to the song and see why this song is not popping like it should be.
Right.
Because the bars are so sophisticated that
Mhm.
to the average fan, if it's not dumbed down, they don't even understand what the fuck he's talking about. They're not catching the bars. They don't know what he's saying. It's too sophisticated. The bars are
Mhm.
just too sophisticated. And the average rap fan or average casual music fan is not understanding what he's saying. So they're not getting.
Right.
I'll give you a I'll give you an example. Remember we were talking the other day and I told you I downloaded some old freestyles from
Right.
Jada, Murder
Mhm.
Mace when he was Murder
Yeah,
Mace,
yeah,
when he
yeah,
was
yeah.
actually tearing shit up, when he was killing shit, when he was with
Murder
Killer Cam
Maze.
and they was killing shit.
Man, that's
But I
crazy.
was
I haven't
listening
heard
to the
that name in so
freestyle.
long.
I was listening to that freestyle,
Mhm.
and Jada came on. He said, "We're gonna be like white men who go bald and get toupees." And my stepson said, "Well, why does he want to wear a toupee?" He didn't catch the bar. He said, "We're gonna be like white men who go bald and get toupees." Like he
Right.
didn't catch it. He didn't understand what he was saying. That he was
Mhm.
saying he's gonna get too paid, as in like he's gonna get so paid off his rap success and his lyrical ability. He's gonna get so paid. He didn't catch the bar. He asked why would he want to be wearing a toupee? He didn't catch it.
Right.
Like the bar was so crazy. And this is 90 early 97, 90 early 97, I think, late 96, early 97, the freestyle.
Right.
And the bar was just so crazy that we're gonna be like white men who go bald and get toupees. And it was just so over the head that he didn't catch it. He didn't understand what he was saying. And that's
Right.
what I mean when I say like when you're a real MC and you really spitting bars,
Mhm.
the average casual music fan is not going to get what you're saying, understand what you're saying.
Right.
So they're going to think, oh, he's whack. He doesn't make any sense. He's whack because he's not
Right.
making sense to me. I can't relate to this because I can't dissect and understand these metaphors that he's giving me. I can't get it. So it
Right.
doesn't make sense to me. People are always going to fear what you don't understand. So if you don't understand something, you're not going to relate to it because you don't
Right.
understand it.
True.
That's why Jadakiss never had the mainstream success as other rappers. But at the same time, he's the same guy who, at the time when he dropped the verse on Nas' Major Look song,
Mm-hmm.
his verse on that, he said top five dead or alive, and that's just on one LP, which is insane because
Yeah.
just off that one album, if you listen to the bars and the metaphors on that album, you can make the argument that he is top five rapper all time
Right.
because he's that nice. Like he's
And
that nice.
he
But
had and he's always been since the early
always
days of
been,
his since the early days of his career, since he
always
was
been,
young, once he was like 15, 16, he was
always
out
been
there
that
crushing.
nice.
Yeah.
Always been that nice. But if you're a casual music fan and you're just at the bar or at the club and the DJ's vibing, he's playing some bangers and he throws on some Jada and he's spitting some real shit that you can't understand or relate to, you're gonna lose your vibe in that bar.
Right.
But if he throws on some Ti, you're gonna vibe to it because you can relate to it. Not saying Ti can't spit bars because he can. You know,
Right.
there's songs that like Trap Back Jumping.
Mm-hmm.
He's spitting crazy bars in that song. Spitting crazy bars in that song. But the average Ti song is so dumbed down that mainstream people and the casual music fan can feel it, understand it, and vibe to it and relate to it.
Right.
But they can't feel somebody like Jada. They're not
Mm-hmm.
going to feel somebody like Fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. Because,
Right.
I mean, if you think back right now, back in the day, me and you were both on Fabulous.
Right. Because
When
dude, he was a sick
that
artist.
Keeping It Gangster remix, his verse on there
Mm-hmm.
was insane. His his verse on that Keeping It Gangster remix was so it was just fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. But like people don't even realize or understand like how nice he was at that time.
Right.
Because all they heard was, oh, he just spells his name all the time. That's
Mm-hmm.
so cliche for you to just hate on just because
Yeah.
he puts his name in his rap with the FABOLOU. Like, okay, yeah, he put that in there, but that doesn't discredit the bars that he spit to add up to that, to put that in there.
Mm-hmm.
And people just wanted to write him off because he was just doing songs with Lil Mo and making party songs, but they wasn't catching the lyrics that he was
Mm-hmm.
spitting. It was
Right.
just because he was getting crazy beats and the beats were
Mm-hmm.
so fire that the songs were catching they were just catching fire because of the beats of the songs.
Uh-huh. And that was with all the songs, even the songs that he did with for the ladies and everything like that. They still had gangster bars in those songs.
They did.
Yeah. And
They
he
did.
he
But like I challenge anybody now to go back right now, wherever you at, if you think I'm bullshitting, go listen to Breathe.
mm-hmm.
Go
Yeah.
listen to Breathe.
Yeah.
And tell me
Yeah.
this motherfucker's not crazy with the bars.
If
Go
if
listen to
I'm
Breathe.
if I'm to be honest, the whole entire, well, most, if I'm not, because everyone has their biased opinions, but for the most part, that Real Talk album was fire for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
that the one that had Breathe on it.
yeah. Was crazy. Was crazy. It's
That was
crazy.
that was the first time I ever heard Young Jeezy. was "Undo the
Right,
Damn Thing" on that song.
right. But this is how nice Fab is, and people don't even realize it.
Hmm.
When he did a verses with Jada, that's how nice he is.
Right,
If you nice enough to do a verses with Jadakiss, you gotta be a dope MC for
right,
them to even consider like, oh, who's gonna do a one-on-one verses with Jadakiss?
right.
Because in a verses, yeah, it's about popular songs, but it's also you're performing that song at a slower rate
Hmm.
live so you can hear it better, you can catch the words, you can catch the lyrics, you can catch the metaphors better. So you're hearing that in real time. So if he's doing that and he's nice enough to go against Jaden,
Right.
he's got to be a dope MC. Got to be for them
Hmm.
for whoever put it together to say, okay, who's going to match up well with Jaden? They didn't say this person or that person. They said fabulous
Hmm.
because he's fucking dope. Like he's
Who
dope
did
MC.
Fabulous do the verses against? Didn't he
He
do
did
one?
against he did go one against Jada.
Oh, he went against Jada on his.
Yeah, he went against Jadakiss.
I knew
That's
he did.
crazy. That's crazy. He went against a seasoned Jadakiss. Like that's crazy. Like and held his own. But then, and I'm not discrediting. I'm not trying to shit on anybody. But you look at the Locks versus Dipset. Jadakiss annihilated them, basically, really by itself. And that's not to say that Cam is garbage or Jewels is garbage or anybody's weak. It's just that, you know what I mean? Fab is that nigga for real.